Sa,
Start recording.
nanonood muna ako ng opening natin.
Oo, sige pre. Ayun, Kuya Noel, magandang gabi sa iyo. July 4, 2021 na.
Born on the 4th of July. Magandang gabi po sa kanilang lahat at magandang umaga sa lahat ng mga nakikinig sa Pilipinas. Welcome po sa The City of Peg Watch. And before we continue, The City of Peg Watch acknowledges that we are on 51 territory, the traditional gathering place of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the traditional homeland of the Métis people. Every time we acknowledge this truth, we have an invitation and an opportunity to reflect on what we do and what we can do to make Manitoba a better place for everyone who lives here. In Tagalog, Tito Aldus, kinikilala ng City of Winnipeg or the City of Peg Watch na tayo ay natitipon sa teritoryo ng Treaty 1, ang tradisyonal na lugar ng pagtitipon ng Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota at Dene at ang tradisyonal na tinubuang bayan ng mga katutubong Métis. Sa tuwing kinikilala natin ang katotohanan ito, mayroon tayong isang paanyaya at isang pagkakataon na pagnilayan ang kung ano ang ating ginagawa at kung ano ang maaari nating gawin upang gawing isang mahusay na lugar ang Manitoba para sa lahat ng mga naninirahan dito. Yun.
Ayun, haba nung Kuya Noel. Ano ba yung binasa mo, Kuya Noel?
Yun yung ating land acknowledgement. And every time we, madalas itong marinig sa mga pagtitipon, mga public meetings, kung kayo ay nakikinig ng, halimbawa, ay city council meeting, regardless if it's a committee meeting, city council mismo, EPC, sa ledge, lagi natin ina-acknowledge na itong Manitoba at itong Winnipeg, na bahagi ng Manitoba, ay lugar o pag-aari ng mga katutubo.
Ayun.
Yun ang tinatawag nating mga land acknowledgement.
Ayan, every start of the show, binabasa ni Kuya Noel yan po, both in English and Tagalog. And
Yun.
susunod may French na yan, Kuya Noel.
Ay, walang biro. Tayo ay actually meron tayong kinakausap na pwede magturo sa atin ng Ojibwe. So isa yan sa mga pinag-aaralan natin. Yung Ojibwe po ay yung isang very popular na native language dito sa Manitoba. Mm-hmm. Pwede natin pag-aralan.
Yeah.
Pero ngayon, Tito Aldus, ang pag-uusapan natin kasara ko lang itong aking pinto.
Buksan ng konti para malakas ang wifi.
Ayan. Pag-uusapan natin ay tungkol dun sa sex industry in Winnipeg.
Sex industry in Winnipeg.
Oo, dahil siguro yung iba alam, yung iba hindi alam, na merong lisensya yung mga tinatawag na escort individuals dito sa Winnipeg. Ang katotohanan, itong license nila, ito yung fee ay under review or proposed to be reviewed by the City Council. So ano ba yung escort? Ano ba yung escort, Tito Aldous, di ba? Siyempre, unang tanong yung, ano ang escort?
Naku,
So aral muna tayo. Meron tayong i-define natin kung ano yung escort, ano ginagawa ng escort, at ano yung institution na yun, ano yung straight to the point na, ano yung sex industry na legal dito sa Winnipeg. No? I-share ko yung ating screen tungkol dun sa sa escort. Ano ang ibig sabihin o ano ang meaning, definition of being an escort dito sa Winnipeg according to the bylaws. Yung bylaws ng ating syudad. Ito po. Pagtanong tayo. Hey, City of Winnipeg. Ito, sineshare ko ngayon. Nakikita niyo ba?
kita ko yun.
Once na nakikita niya, ayan. Kita na ba?
Kita.
Ayun. So, nakikita niyo po dyan sa screen. Tinitingnan ko rin sa ating screen. Ayun. Sa ating screen po nakalagay sa under community services na tab ng ating screen. Makikita nyo dyan, escort license. Ang sabi, an escort license, an escort is a person who charges or receives a fee for the following services. Ano yung ginagawa lang services? Acting as a date and providing personal companionship for a limited period of time. The definition of an escort does not include a person who provides care, supervision, or assistance to children or to another person because of that other person's advanced age or mental or physical disability. So hindi pasok dito yung mga, di ba, meron tayong mga members of the community na ang trabaho yung mga nag-aalaga ng mga bata, nag-aalaga ng mga matanda, nag-aalaga ng mga ini-escort yung mga people with disability na pupunta ng shopping, pupunta ng doktor, iba yon. Ito, escort, acting as a date, providing personal companionship. In definition ng personal companionship, malawak yan kung ano yung serbisyo na kailangan no? Tapos, merong cost na bayaran dyan. Pagka pinindot nyo po itong license fees under cost, ito yung pinag-uusapan nyo sa council. Itong under escort, 371 per year. So legal silang makakapagtrabaho bilang escort kung magbabayad po sila ng 371 yearly. Tapos yung agency naman, meron pang an agency yan eh.
May agency,
yung agency mismo, yung mga nag-aalaga ng escort, nagbabayad naman sila ng $5,000 a year. So yun po yung mga regulations natin. However, merong isang, i-stop sharing ko muna. Merong mga grupo na sinasabi, once and for all, hindi na dapat nag-ooperate or hindi dapat nag-i-exist yung mga escort na yan dito sa Winnipeg dahil pinagmumulandi umano yan ng mga illegal activities tulad ng gangs, drugs, even human trafficking. As a matter of fact, nung pong nag-meeting ang Executive Policy Committee, umattend po doon si Joy Smith. Si Joy Smith po ay dating MP ng Kildonan ng St. Paul. At ngayon po, being a retired public official, nagtayo siya ng Joy Smith Foundation na ang advocacy po niya ay ang pagsugpo sa human trafficking dito sa buong Canada. Dahil nangyayari po yan dito sa, hindi lamang sa Winnipeg, kundi sa buong Canada. At in-explain niya doon na nagiging front itong mga escort industry na to. May tinatawag na body rub parlors, Tito Aldous.
Body rub parlors.
Kung Google nyo ngayon, may mga license talaga na body rub parlors in Winnipeg. Meron yan sa Sargent Avenue, dalawa yata dyan, meron yan sa ibang lugar. Yung mga body rub parlors po na yan, hindi yan yung katulad ng mga registered na mga RMT. Yung mga masahista talaga. Iba yon. Alam niyo na ibig namin sabihin, yung body rub parlors. Adult, ano po yan? Adult massage ang binibigay nilang serbisyo. At maraming grupo ang nagsasabi na once and for all, dapat wala na yan dito sa Winnipeg. At sa kabilang banda naman, yung mga advocates naman ng sex industry, gusto nila yan dahil mas may regulation, mas may protection doon sa mga sex workers. So kayo na po ang bahalang maghusga, depende sa inyong mga pananaw sa buhay, kung gusto niyo bang i-regulate ang sex industry dito or ang mga body rub parlors, magpatuloy siya dito sa Winnipeg or itigil na, o ano ba ang inyong pananaw base sa inyong mga paniniwala at base sa inyong mga kinagisnan. So ngayon po, papakita natin yung interview natin kay Joy Smith. Of course, si Joy Smith po ay advocate ng pagtigil or pag-stop totally ng mga body rub parlors sa maraming kadahilanan. Unang-una, to stop human trafficking. Pangalawa, para hindi rin maapektuhan yung mga talagang registered na massage therapist. Kasi yung mga body rub parlors, they operate in disguise of being a massage parlor. Massage parlor nga sila per se, but iba pa yung serbisyong ino-offer nila. Iyon ang ating itatalakayin ngayon, Tito Aldous. At kung ready na kayo, papakita ko na po ang ating interview with Joy Smith, wherein we discuss about the sex industry in Winnipeg, particularly her involvement in the review. There is a 180 days review on the regulations about the licenses being provided to escorts here in Winnipeg who are working in that particular industry. Ito po, panoorin nyo ang ating interview at pag-aralan natin kung ano ang dapat nating maging decision dito. You can call your city councilors on whatever your opinion is about this subject matter in our city. Well,
all right, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank you for saying yes to my invitation. I watched the Executive Policy Committee hearing 2 weeks ago. And I got immediately after you spoken before the council, I told to myself, I need to talk to you to talk about the adult industry which is happening in Winnipeg. And again, ma'am, thank you for your time today.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So I would like to go straight to the point. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, there was a proposal that was, in the news that the council will try to regulate the bylaw with respect to the adult industry, which is happening in the city. And I would like to hear you've already explained your view on this during the EPC. And I would like to take this opportunity for you to share your views to our Filipino communities out there who is actually not aware that this is really happening in Winnipeg. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much. What your community should be aware of, in Winnipeg and every city across this country, human trafficking is happening. And that's the basis for all of this stuff. So for the body rub parlors, there's actually 2 licensed body rub parlors in Winnipeg officially, but there are many, many others unofficially that are not registered, but are still allowed to function. And so what we want to do, number one, with the proposal that came out from City Hall, it would have made licensing cheaper for them. to run. It would have taken away the criminal check that you have to have in those places of business. I mean, it was just a travesty. What should happen, Winnipeg should be the first city in Canada to shut down body rub parlors and anything related to that. Now, what's happening is other entrepreneurs are setting up unofficial body rub parlors in different places. They call it wellness centers, whatever they call it, but it's still the same thing. So my proposal to City Council, and I felt City Council was very receptive to what I said because, and what Diane Redsky said as well, we both presented, she from the Aboriginal side and myself from both sides. We propose that they do a fulsome study over 180 days because they need to know what's really going around. And we talked about the many young kids, underage kids, that we've pulled out of body rub parlors. Their lives forever changed. And, many of those children are from different ethnic groups. If a child gets in with a certain group and they're influenced, sometimes it sounds pretty good to become a part of something like this because they paint a rosy picture. In actual fact, it's brutal, it's dehumanizing, they get no money, they are controlled. It's the modern day slave trade.
So you mentioned about 180 days of, is this a kind of a study or a review of what's
a study? We are giving them evidence so they understand what is actually happening inside those walls. These are not businesses. This is glorified rape of small children, of young underage children, teenagers, beautiful teenagers, and traffickers earn around $260,000 to $280,000 per victim per year. They don't want their money taken away. And what they do as traffickers is they get them away from their homes. They lure them, become their boyfriends or girlfriends, whichever way it is. There's a marked rise in boy trafficking right now. And so they get the confidence of the individual that they've targeted. And the kids will run away from home. They'll get in with this group, or they'll stay at home and still be very changed in many, many ways. So parents themselves, if their kids start to change and drop their old friends, or if they have 2 cell phones, there's red flag indicators that, they have to really pay attention. And since the pandemic, the traffickers have been so busy working to lure more and more kids over the internet. And so parents need to know that they have to be very careful of that. We give seminars on that. But the issue of body rub parlors is something that our Winnipeg cannot afford to continue to have. They have to be shut down for the safety of our youth.
Okay, so your stand is it's not actually regulating it, but it should stop.
Shutting it down. Never mind regulating a crime. I mean, we don't regulate crimes, and this is a crime against our youth. Yeah. And, there will be people involved, like the pro-prostitution group, and people like that will say, oh, there's nothing wrong with the sex trade. We are not talking about adults. We are talking about the luring of underage girls who we've pulled out of these places and whose lives are forever changed. That's what we're talking about. If an adult decides to do what they do, well, they do what they do. We're talking about underage children, and that's the majority. 93% of the traffic victims in Canada are Canadian born, and body rub parlors are all across this country. We want Winnipeg to shut the body rub parlors down, period, and protect the kids.
Are there cities already in Canada that have already shut down this kind of industry, or are we the first one?
We'd be the first one. There are cities who don't have body rub parlors, like I'm not familiar, like ones that are licensed. They all have these pseudo body rub parlors that call themselves whatever they call themselves. They can put a wellness name to it or a whatever they want to put to it. We've discovered many of those that are all set up as body rub parlors, but licensed ones are all in the big cities. And I can tell you that there should be no licensing of crime, and that's licensing. Body rub parlors is the licensing of crime against underage girls. The majority of them they have in those walls are underage girls. And when you go into that place, they're very careful. They have cameras. The cameras aren't there to protect the girls. The cameras are there to see who's coming in through the door. Is it a cop? Is it somebody, an activist or somebody like that? So what we want to do, and actually, I passed the bills on human trafficking, and there is one bill, the Protection of Communities and Exploited Persons Act. That's Bill C-36. It's actually the purchases offense in 286.1 of the Criminal Code. It passed in December of 2014, but in actual fact, it is illegal to license businesses based on illegal transactions involving the purchase of illegal sexual services. Now, everyone knows what happens behind those doors. Everyone knows. It's just proving it because the traffickers threaten the girls. If they say anything, terrible things will happen to them. And I know in a couple of incidents, more than that, where terrible things did happen to them when they talk to somebody. So what we have to do is protect them, shut them down. There should be no place like that where they can take young 13, 14-year-old girls and sell them for sex. There should be nothing like that because it changed their lives forever. And that's what we're so strongly for, is shutting them down, not regulating them. We don't regulate crime.
During this 180 days review, ma'am, how can a typical Winnipegger like me be able to participate in the discussion?
Get a hold of your counselor and tell them to shut down the body rub parlors, period. Because why in the world would anyone want something like that to go on? Someone will come who's of age and they'll say, well, I'm a sex worker and I don't mind doing this, it's safe. That's nonsense. There might be one or two that are their spokesman, but the majority of them are underage girls that have what they do is lure them out of their homes, 13, 14 years old. They groom them, they give them whatever, and then they persuade them to just go in, it won't be bad, all the rest of it, and then they're under their control. And once you're behind their doors, like Cassandra Diamond, I told you about Cassandra, a girl who I worked with, and she just said her life was hell. She's speaking out now. We helped her get out. She said her life was hell. Her boyfriend groomed her and persuaded her to work in a massage parlor. She did for 10 years, and she earned lots of money. She got no money herself, but she started as a 15-year-old, and her life was just horrid. And now she's speaking out. We helped her rebuild her life, and we helped her with all those things. But we need to protect our very young because those outside influences, and during the pandemic, it's been horrid, absolutely horrid, because they've had opportunity to really lure young kids over the internet. There's software out there now that changes your voice and changes your face. And these young people think they're talking to a 16-year-old and they're talking to a 40-year-old man or a 40-year-old woman. Women are very strong human traffickers who help get the girls because girls trust them. So massage parlors, body rub parlors, no, shut them down. And another thing is, there are legitimate massage therapists that go through a lot of training. And then after, I know most of them, a lot of them have their degrees in kinesiology, and then they take 2,200 hours after that of massage therapy, and then they have to upgrade every single year. Those are legitimate places where people can get health altering and help with their health in legitimate places. And, I tell you, if anyone massages anyone the wrong way, they could permanently damage a muscle or whatever. But these massage parlors, now called body rub parlors, because the city decided they couldn't use the word massage, now it's body rub parlors. What has to be regulated is the registered massage therapist. That's what should be regulated. Body rub parlors, everything like that, should be shut down.
Well, very well said, ma'am. And we will look forward to that update of that review of the so-called regulation.
Yeah. And tell your whole community, write to their council, shut down body rub parlors.
There we go.
And regulate registered massage therapists who have the certificates and who have the schooling to be able to do that.
Malinaw na malinaw ang sinabi ni Joy Smith na dati pong MP at MLA dito sa Manitoba na hindi dapat nire-regulate ang isang nagdudulot ng isang foundation ng crime. Dahil sa pinaliwanag niya nga po na ito ay nagiging pugad ng human trafficking at hindi lamang mga adults ang nabibiktima nito. Ang nakakalungkot, marami pa mga underage na mga babae o mga lalaki ang nagiging biktima ng industriyang ito. So, if you are concerned about this issue, you can write your counselor. You can get hold of your counselor and tell them what you're thinking. Depende sa paniniwala niyo po. Kung gusto niyo i-regulate, gusto niyo magpatuloy yung mga ganong mga body rub parlors in Winnipeg, it's up to you. At kung gusto niyo itigil yon, meron po kayong boses at meron 180 days na review at meron din tayong pagkakataon to be or to attend one of those committee hearings if you would like. Iyon ang ating topic ngayon na Tito Aldous.
Napakasimple. Pero
nakamute ka, Tito Aldous.
Ayun, dali.
Mute ka.
Nakamute. Ayan.
Ayun, hindi nakamute.
Nakamute na, mute na.
Yun. So yun ang ating kwentuhan ngayon, mga kaibigan. Ang sex industry dito sa Winnipeg.
Simple pero tago. Hindi napapansin, ano?
Yeah. Tsaka kadalasan yung mga usaping ganito, nahihiya tayong talakayin kasi medyo sensitibo. Yung mga iba siguro, naging parokyano nito sa community natin, sa mga Filipino community. Hindi natin sila masisisi dahil existing yung mga industry na yun. Pero ang tanong doon, yung moral basis natin, yung moral foundation natin, ano ba ang ating stand doon bilang mga Pilipino, bilang depende dun sa faith nyo, depende dun sa paniniwala.
Ayun, may faith at paniniwala. Si Noel ngayon.
Depende yun. Bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. Pero meron kayong say. Meron kayong pagkakataon para marinig.
Yes.
Kung may nakikinig ngayon na isang sex worker, di ba? You can raise your opinion on that. At kung meron dito na nakikinig na Pilipino na may nag-aari ng body rub parlor o shareholder ng body rub parlor, let us know to hear your side. Ano lang naman tayo. Parehas lang. Yeah? Kasi legit Legit ang mga body rub parlor eh.
May lisensya.
May lisensya sila eh. Sabi ni Joy Smith, dapat yan kahit may lisensya yan, ibasara yan. Kayo may mga negosyante kayo on your side, legitimate naman kayo. Ano ngayon sa inyo?
Yeah.
So, for any one of you who are into this kind of business, let us know and we will hear, this show is open for you to hear your side. Kasi may magkakaroon ng debate yan eh. Ito Aldous. Sa committee hearing na yan, sa 180 days review, marami ang magiging discussions, debates from two sides. Sex workers, body rub owners, pupuntayan natin yan ng City Hall para ipagtanggol yung kanilang negosyo na legit. Kabayad sila eh. Di ba? At itong other side naman na to, hindi. Kahit na nagbabayad kayo, nagiging pugad kayo ng human trafficking.
Human
Tingin
trafficking,
yan.
yes.
So, magandang abangan yan. Yes. At maganda rin na subaybayan ng ating mga Filipino community kung may pagkakataon kayo dahil ito dapat ang mga bagay na inaalam natin bilang members ng community. Yeah. Pagka may panahon kayo. Alam kong
Busy sila parati.
very busy ang bawat isa sa atin, pero maganda pa rin yung nalalaman natin kung ano yung mga nangyayari sa community natin dahil palay nyo, maapektuhan kayo ito. Diba? Hindi natin alam ang mundo. Papetiks-petiks na tayo ngayon. Very busy tayo sa mga ginagawa natin. Pero darating ang mga panahon na kung hindi tayo naging vigilant on different issues which may affect us soon or in the near future, baka magsisi tayo sa ulit.
Ayun.
So, ayun po. Kayo na po ang maghusga at kayo na po ang gumawa ng aksyon para sa future ng Winnipeg.
Ayun.
Yun lang po.
Ayun, ang bilis ang
Ayos.
oras.
Oo.
Ayun.
At kung hindi niyo po napapanood ang live streaming natin sa ating page, i-share po natin niya mamaya.
Yeah.
Na-record din naman po ito.
Hinahanap ko rin kanina Kuya Noel eh. No.
Yun.
Wala.
Oo.
Naka-record naman to Kuya Noel.
Naka-record.
Ay,
Ayos.
subscribe na rin po sa YouTube, Diverse TV Canada. Ayan.
Yun. At nagpapasalamat din tayo sa ating mga sponsors, Councilor Kevin Klein at ang ating MLA dito sa Tyndall Park, si Cindy Lamoureux. At ang susunod po nating topic ay tungkol sa anti-racism policy. Next week po yan. Ang ating interview is with School Board Trustee Greg McFarlane ng Seven Oaks School Division. So yung pong interview natin kay John Reyes hindi natuloy dahil nag-email po siya ng isang araw na meron daw siyang something came up.
Busy.
Exact wordings na sinabi ng kanyang assistant. Something came up and we will it needs to be rescheduled. So maghihintay lang tayo kung kailan available si MLA John Reyes discuss about his stand on Bill 64. Hindi natin tatantanan niya. Hindi natin babangan natin siya kung gusto niya talaga magpaliwanag on Bill 64. Walang problema. Always open tayo to anyone.
Ayan.
Wala tayong partido rito. Hindi tayo member ng NDP, hindi tayo member ng liberal, hindi tayo member ng conservative. Tayo naglilingkod lang public service sa community ng Manitoba. At wala tayong pakialam kahit na makasalungat natin sila ng paniniwala. Dahil wala tayong pinoprotektahang partido. Yun ang kagandahan natin.
Mm-hmm.
Ayos!
Ayos na naman. Tapos na naman ang isang Sunday. And again, Happy Independence Day sa US ba? And Happy Canada Day,
Lord.
Kuya Noel.
Canada Day, noong July 1st.
July 1st
Maraming
dito.
nagrally.
So masyadong maraming issue yung Canada Day na yan. Yung mangyari na yan.
Oo. Next time, i-discuss natin yan.
Oo.
Mahaba-habang usapin.
Nakabakabang usapin. Maraming
Yeah.
makaka-relate.
Yes.
Sigurado kayo na marami tayong makakaaway dyan pag tiniskas natin yan.
Marami maraming issue na mahalaga. Tulad ng residential schools, yung discovery ng mga graveyards, etc. Mahalagang bagay po yan. Dapat nating malalaman. However, marami ding mga local issues. Tulad nito, pinag-uusapan ng itong sex workers license.
Mm-hmm.
Pinag-uusapan, di natin alam. Dapat malaman natin.
Mm-hmm.
Kaya po kami nandito para sa Public Service Program para sa inyo lahat na mga taga Winnipeg at Manitoba.
Mm-hmm. Ayun.
Meron pa iba, Tito Aldous?
Wala na. We're just inviting all business owners to contact us through our email at info@diverseindustries.ca if you want your ads to be up on our show. There you go.
Yun.
With a minimal
At
charge, of course.
Very good. Yeah, very minimal fee. At sa diwa pong iyan, let's all be vigilant. Let's, the Kuya Noel and Tito Aldo Show, the City of Pegwatch is here to educate you, to inform you, and to engage you on local issues happening in Winnipeg and Manitoba. At sa maliit pong paraan na yan, sa ano po ay nakakatulong kami every night sa aming pag-discuss dito ng mga bagay na makakatulong, na iniisip namin na makakatulong sa ating lahat. Ito po ang inyong likod, si Kuya Noel.
Ayun, ito yung Tito Aldous. Dito lang po sa Kuya Noel and Tito
At
Aldous
Tito
Show.
Aldo Show. Maraming salamat. Bye-bye po.